Sylvia Haddad, you are deep in social work here in Beirut. You are working with Palestinians, you are working with children, you're running a camp outside of Beirut, but you're also having a school inside of Beirut. The people know that you're doing a lot of social work. How comes? What is your motivation to do this and to spend such a lot of time, energy, and fantasy on that?
Uh, I love what I'm doing. I really love it. I cannot think that somebody needs you and you do not try to help them. I have been like that since a child. I have always wanted to help people. It just makes me happy. This is all. I wish I had more hours in the day. I wish I had more energy. I, so many things that I wish for, but I do what I can within my own abilities, my own means, my own convictions. I have been working in social work, just volunteering and all that for many, many years, much long before now. I've worked with the blind, I've worked with the villages, trying to encourage people to stay in their villages. I've worked in prisons, I've worked in the YWCA. I've worked in so many places. Even when I travel, I found something that I can be helping people with the homeless. I have worked in the States, and I'm very happy, and find that God has blessed me that I have this ability because especially the need in Lebanon has increased so much that whoever can help, whoever God has given them the gift of helping, we should really use it. And I just hope I will continue to be able to do that. It makes me happy.
So you say you have a helping character. What would you say helps you? What gift of God helps you to do charity work in a systematic way,
In a systematic way.
as you do?
Yes.
You're not just going to the beggar on the streets. You're running a school, for instance. That is indeed a systematic approach, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe it is my not only my upbringing, but also I was a teacher at the university, so I'm quite well organized, and know how to prioritize things, what is more important than other thing. And wherever God leads me, I am a Christian, and I have a strong belief in what Jesus taught us about helping others. I show my faith through serving, to helping others. This is how I show my strong, deep faith in Christ. And I just find a door opens somehow, and I look and I find, this is where they need me, and I can do it. And I don't know how God blesses me always, and I find the funds, I find the people who would like to help me, and actually in the people who work with me, I think that I'm very lucky because all the people who work with me, who are running our centers, I don't know, somehow just God sends them to where they are, and they love what they're doing, and it's not for the money. Nobody does it for money. Most of us are really committed, and we just pray that we can continue and do more, which will give us more happiness.
So you are, so to say, running a school in Sabra and Shatila. Um, what does that mean on everyday work? You're not teaching there, of course, but what does that mean? For instance, how do you get the money to run that school?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do I get the money? Thank God we have partners who help us. We have in Sabra that you have visited. We have this kindergarten, and the kindergarten is supported by the Bread for the World. So I'm very grateful to them. They're supporting it, along with a tutoring program for children who might be dropping out of schools. They cannot make it in school because maybe school is overcrowded or any of those reasons, the learning problems. So we have this program that we help to keep them in schools. Then we have a very good program of children who have never had the chance to go to school. They are 12 and 13, they cannot read. Can you imagine a child who is that age who had never had the chance to learn to read? Either they were not in school or maybe they didn't do it and be able to keep up with the schooling. For some reason, they are really illiterate. And then you teach these children, and they are so anxious to learn because they have a future. And after that, we tell them, we try to introduce them to different skills or vocations that they can be working. We also have a very strong program in Sabra for electronics and computer assembling and fixing and all that. Again, you have a group of, the girls don't seem to be interested in that, but it's open to them, but they don't come. Usually young men who come and they're very excited at what they are learning. So we hope that they will leave us having a skill in their hand, which they will build on later. And this is supported this year by the Church of Sweden. And then we have, I forgot to say that the children who are 12 and 13, this program is supported by Embrace the Middle East. We also have a program for the older people who are illiterate. We have an 80-year-old woman who is studying, and she said, imagine I have 4 sons who are engineers and I cannot read. She says, now I can read. So I was blind and now I can see. This means a lot to us when we hear her say that. We also have a hairdressing program, beauty, hairdressing. You know, these days people, even for the men like to look beautiful. Do not underestimate their desire for beauty. So we have a barbering course also. So whoever would like to help us, we are always very grateful. We can start new programs. So we're very grateful to our partners who are supporting us.
We are sitting here in your office in Hamra, directly opposite to the German church. And this is a nice area, it's so lively, and even in many tourist guides you find Hamra as a location you must go as a tourist. Now you say in former times it was much more beautiful. How can I understand this?
I would say that Ras Beirut, Hamra, and all the surrounding from AUB to LAU to all this area, I think it is the most beautiful area. I've lived elsewhere and I've always wanted to be here. I grew up in this area and I grew up in a Hamra which had the houses with gardens. I grew up in a house which has 2 fig trees that we used to climb on. Now looking at Hamra as it is now, so overbuilt and so busy, you will not think that in the olden days it was so lovely, and there were families. The families knew each other. You know, you'd walk down the Hamra street, you know which family these people are, from which family these people are. Yeah, you know, every family knows each other.
Sounds like a little village.
It was like a little village because we didn't have shops. Before the war in 75, we didn't have the shops here. We had a few grocery stores, but it was all downtown, the downtown area, so it was completely residential. What made the shops starting to open here was when the war took place and the downtown area, people were losing their shops. People came to where they are living, and this is how the streets became first floors were all evacuated and they made them into shops and stores, and this is how it just changed from what it used to be. Beirut, everything you wanted, you went downtown. You had the vegetable market, the fish market, the fruit market. You had even the gold market, which they would close at night. But now it is all hodgepodge. Everything is mixed with each other. So Ras Beirut is lovely, Hamra is lovely, but it is not the Hamra that I grew up in, but I still like it anyway. And there are a few old houses that you can see, and hopefully they will not pull them down.
Now they have houses 8 to 10 floors, even higher. You have
Yes,
skyscrapers with 20 floors here around. Does
exactly.
that change the people, the behavior, the mood? How is it?
I think it has affected the people a lot because usually when you lived in a small building, you would know your neighbors, you would go and visit, they would visit you. It was more sociable. Now there are buildings we don't know who's in the building. You hardly know your next door neighbor. This urbanization, all these high buildings have changed life very much in Beirut, and it's too bad. And then, uh, people came from all over into Ras Beirut, so you don't know everybody anymore. The world is changing, and so has Ras Beirut.
You have the great freedom of being retired. Any plans for the coming time, the next years?
Well, I'd like to retire if I find somebody who will come and take over my work with the same commitment because we really need to keep this work going. It is not a money making job, this is a heart, a job from the heart. And I would love to retire to do other things.
Knitting socks?
Never, never, no, no. I don't know what, reading all the thousands of books I have at home, writing many things I should be writing. Yes, but let's find the right person and then I will leave. But I hope to find somebody who would be able to come, and I'm sure they would be able, but who would like to come and take over and meet such nice people like yourself and
Thank you.
the other pastors who came to visit me. Thank you.